Being indecisive is going to hurt you worse than like making the wrong choice. The lowest ranking person here in just 3 years makes $100,000 in BAH, so why not put that towards something that you can see a benefit on when you leave? I think people just focus on what's going to happen tomorrow or the short term and don't look into the future. And buying real estate, you have to look into the future. If you want something, you can make absolutely anything happen. It's just about your priorities and partnering yourself with the right people.
What brought you to this relationship with God?
Being in a breaking point, I was suicidal. I was very depressed, very dark. If you fail, there's something to come out of that. In the storm, it's not the leaves that are being tested, it's our roots that are being tested. We're meant to shed, we're meant to fail, we're meant to fall. It's our roots and foundation. And once you have those roots and foundation in place and aren't looking for that validation and are true to who you are and what you believe in, that's when the breakthrough happens.
Welcome to In Search of Excellence Island Style, powered by the Broker Mortgage Experts. This podcast highlights leaders raising the standard through consistent, values-driven leadership, lived with aloha.
She is a Canadian.
Not quite.
Not quite?
Yeah.
I thought you were.
I know, yeah. So I am American,
You're
but
American.
I grew up in Canada.
You grew up in Canada,
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
And now you're on island.
But I'm American.
How long? I'm American. 250
Yes.
year anniversary. I'm American.
Yes,
So
yep.
now, Lexi, you've been on island for how long?
Almost 8 years.
8 years.
Yes.
And you're a realtor. You are many things. We're going to talk about a lot today with Lexi. You're a realtor, very successful realtor. You're also a photographer.
Yep.
And wife, mother,
Yes.
and
All the
doing
hats,
pretty
right?
all hats, all hats. And your husband, Nick, he's in the National Guard, right?
Yes. Yep. Hawaii Air National Guard.
Hawaii Air National. That's right. He's in the Air National
Yep.
Guard. And now, what brought you to Hawaii?
So he was active duty Air Force at the time, and we got orders here to Hickam.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he got out. I knew he worked with us for a little bit, and then he got back
Yeah.
or went full time. He's full time right now, Air
Yeah,
National
so
Guard.
he did, I believe it was 3 years of active duty on Hickam, and then he switched over to being a loan officer. He worked with you
Yeah.
at your old company. I believe he did that for about 2 or 3 years, and then he got like full AGR position with the Hawaii Air National Guard, and now he's rocking in there.
He came in at just the wrong time in the industry.
Yeah.
And now, when did you get into real estate?
I got in real estate in February of 2020.
Okay, so you got in just at the right time.
Yes.
And obviously, a lot of people are successful, but you've had sustained success. And what has been your secret to success, and why did you get into real estate?
Yeah, so I got into real estate because when we moved here, we had to purchase a house before we arrived on island. And I just wanted to provide that more specific service for military, somebody that could really know what we're going through and just that extra touch of not being transactional and finding someone that is aware of what we go through, the stresses, and really has our best interests in mind and can help people make informed, educated decisions. So real estate just fell into my lap. I bought a home. I believe I was like 22 years old when I bought my first home.
22 years old.
Yeah, so I'm very
pretty good.
pro real estate, and the VA benefits are insane. The lowest ranking person here in just 3 years makes $100,000 in BAH, so why not put that towards something that you can see a benefit on when you leave? But that being said, you still have to buy the right property at the right time and the right price, and you can get yourself in trouble if you don't do that. So I wanted to be that agent that created that informed, educated experience.
And you mentioned one thing that I really focus on myself, being relational versus transactional.
Yes.
So how are you relational? How do you take it from being to relational?
Yeah, so again, it's just that personal touch. I personally know my clients, like I get to know them, and it's not just, oh, what do you need in a house? It's what are we going through in our life? What are our goals and plans for the future, so that it's not just that like, one in a moment thing where we're buying a home, and then also educating them and making them better than when I first initially met them, whether that's through the education of home buying or connecting them with people on the island when they get here, whether that's helping them find the right school, the right church, the right area where they're able to experience the whole Hawaii lifestyle.
And so where do you get most of your clients from?
So sphere of influence, social media is my biggest one. I would say all of my clients come from social media that I don't personally know, that's not given to me from a person.
And what's your
Referral.
social media? What do you do on social media? I know this answer, but I just want you to say that.
I feel like I, especially now, don't necessarily post about real estate. I post about lifestyle, and me personally, I'd say it's 80% personal and then 20% business.
Which is the way it should be.
Yeah, or education, right?
Yep.
Not just, oh, hey, check out this house. It's, hey, look at this neighborhood. This is what's over here. So it's actually giving people that insight. And I had never been here before I moved, right? So I know I Googled the crap out of this area and tried to find videos. And I will say, obviously, now that's increased with the amount of information you can find because social media has kind of blown up in the last, I'd say, 5 years or so. But yeah, I just want people to be able to know what they're getting into before they arrive.
And if people want to find you on social media, where will they search?
Yeah, so I'm on all of them, and I'm under The Real Lexi Brown.
The Real Lexi Brown. Is that two L's?
The
The
REAL, and then Lexi Brown.
Okay, all right. So there are two L's.
Because I'm the real one.
The real one.
Yeah.
There's some fake
Yeah,
ones.
not
out
the
there.
basketball player. That's not
Oh,
me.
is there a basketball
There
player
is.
too?
There's a
Well, you're
professional
pretty tall.
basketball
How tall
player.
are you?
5'8".
You played
Not that
basketball,
tall.
didn't you?
In elementary school. like,
But you were something
yeah,
else.
Yes, yeah. I was more artsy. Photography was my jam.
And you do photography now.
I do, yes.
You did our team pictures. You've done pictures for me a couple of times. Did you do family
Yes.
photos?
I've done client events for you.
You have,
And then I've
yeah.
done some of your seminars.
Oh my gosh, we did the
And
one
Real
at Colina
Producers.
and Real Producers.
Yes, the Hawaii
Yeah,
Real
just-
Producers.
Your photography is so good. Anyone could take a picture, but what you do with the picture is you bring out the different colors and
Yeah.
really just the fine detail in the pictures is so amazing. Really, if
Thank
you're looking for a
you.
great photographer, Lexi's like I said, you've done multiple events, client events, our personal events, for our team. And my family's coming out here for Christmas. I'm gonna have them all together. 2 grandchildren.
Oh,
We're
yes,
gonna do
congrats.
updated family photos. I know where to go. You can be on an island December.
I believe so. We'll
Okay.
see, though. Yeah.
All right,
You never know. That's too far away.
that is a long time. So, all right, so you got the photography, you got the social. You mentioned something else about 80-20. 80% is personal. Let's talk a little personal.
Okay.
You have almost didn't recognize you when you came in, or I came in. You were here before me. You've lost how many pounds?
90 pounds.
90 pounds. I like 92
Yeah, 92.
better. 92
okay,
pounds.
92. Okay.
For all my academy classmates, I'm class of 92, so
Okay.
everything is 92.
right.
If it had been 90, we would have said 92 minus 2.
Okay.
All right, but how the hell do you lose? And this over how many months?
Yeah, about 13 months.
So in a year, losing 92 pounds. Anybody who says you can't be done, you're liars. I'm sitting next to somebody
Yes,
who
yes.
had to. How did you do that?
I didn't do any medicine, no GLP-1s. for
No
one
GL.
thing.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
That's good to know.
So it started with, I think, mentally getting myself in the right mental space and then advocating for myself, for my health. And I switched over to a naturopathic doctor and had a lot of tests done to figure out what's going on with my body and what's going on with my health that's causing, because you feel gross, not just from a physical standpoint of I don't feel like I look good, but you mentally don't feel good. You feel achy and when you're carrying on things that you shouldn't be. And so really going and finding the root of the issue. And in doing so, I found out I had autoimmune diseases that are heavily impacted by diet, and I had to cut out all gluten and dairy. And then I'm allergic to seafood. I already knew that, but yeah, the gluten, the dairy was a big one. It really triggered my autoimmune diseases, and I held on to that inflammation. And so once I cut that out, and working out regularly and just being very strict on what I put in my body, I was able to shed that. So I do work out a lot though. I was working out 3 times a day.
Do you still use the Peloton I sold you?
Yeah, yes.
All right,
so
good.
Peloton.
Putting that to good use.
Yeah, and a tonal.
That's
Peloton
right. How do you
and
like the tonal?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yes.
I don't have room for a tonal.
Okay, but it's on the wall, like.
I don't have any wall space.
No, okay.
Like I put it in my garage.
Yeah.
But I have a full gym in my garage.
Okay.
So what do you miss most? What food do you miss most?
I love bread and pasta. Yeah, that's
So
like my
is there any
favorite.
pasta? Can you get organic Italian pasta or?
You can, so they do make gluten-free. And then I've been told that if I were to go to Italy or in Rome, that they don't process their flour the same as we do in the United States. So I probably could still have gluten in the United States because it's just how we,
Nick,
what we put into our things.
Nick, you got to take somebody to
I know,
Italy.
I know. My daughter's name is Roman. Like I'm meant to go.
You are meant to go.
Yeah.
Nick. So you've never been to Italy?
No, I
Oh,
haven't.
my, I'm going to
Yeah.
Italy here in a month and a half or so. Second
Okay.
time.
Oh yeah, you went last year, right?
Went last year,
Yes.
yeah. And I want to move there.
Okay.
The food is so good.
Yeah.
I love it
I
there.
know a lot
Absolutely.
of people that want to
Yeah.
move there.
And-
I go
and-
every year.
Yeah, yeah, and I could see myself doing that.
Yeah.
So you've cut out ice cream too? No ice cream?
Yeah, so I can only do dairy-free ice cream. So you can use almond milk, oat
Yeah.
milk, and
So you can do almond milk.
Yeah.
I don't drink
Yeah.
milk, but I like almond milk. I love coconut milk.
Yeah, coconut as
Coconut
well.
milk is actually it's refreshing.
Yeah.
So working out, diet. How do you find out that you have autoimmune deficiencies? I'm not even sure what that means.
Yeah, so I knew some of them from childhood, and it was inflammation. So it started with my joints would get really swollen, and we didn't know why. I didn't have any kind of injury, and so I got diagnosed with RA when I was 8 years old, which is very rare.
That's pretty young. That's
yeah.
really young.
Yeah, so you think arthritis, and you're an old person ready to give out, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, 8 years old, I got diagnosed with RA, and then PCOS, and just it comes up in your blood work, right? You usually have something that happens that they have to figure it out, and then it appears in your blood work.
And that's
so.
what your pathogenic doctor or
Yeah, so I knew about those before, but again, I just feel like the education in the medical system is just let's prescribe medicine for it. Let's not get to the root of the issue, or let's not focus on other natural ways of healing your body. It's just, try this medicine, which is like domino effect, right?
So your progression was there was no medicine. It was just
Yeah, cut
cleaning
out-
your body.
Cut out all medicine. Yeah, and just cleaning my body and
Yeah.
finding out the root cause.
You look great. You look great.
you.
And so let's talk mentally. Obviously, that's got to be tough going through there. There are times when you're thinking about, is this worth it, right?
Yeah.
How did you kind of stay focused through 13 months and now to a lot of people, you ever watch the show The Biggest Loser?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody who lost weight, they've all put on that weight and then some. Not everybody, but a lot. So how did you get yourself right mentally to do that?
Yeah, so I think that's definitely 100% where it started. I unfortunately, before that, literally went through a full down breakdown and really struggled with my mental health. And I had to get right mentally before I could even take on being able to advocate for myself and figure out what was going on. So mentally, I just had an epiphany, and I found a relationship with God and really took off spiritually. And then people were being placed in my life. I stopped being able to think negatively. I found the right kind of doctors that, again, did natural things on me to be able to help me break through with my mental health issues. And consistency, obedience. And I think once you just accept that, it's a lot of internal things, and you can't be like outward. You have to stop looking for validation.
Which
in
is
your
tough.
Issues.
It's
Yeah.
very tough, especially with social media, because
Yeah.
I know for me, just I put something out there, and if nobody looks at it, I'm like, nobody
Yeah.
likes me,
It hurts,
or
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and you have to get past that. And
Yes.
now, I like 10 views, you're like 10,000 views. So getting past that mentally it's got to be tough. Just the validation. Where did you go to for validation? And is it internal validation? How did you change?
So I don't go for validation anymore, and I've accepted the fact that I don't need it. That walking in faith instead of fear is completely different. It's just not needing that validation or not needing to wait on other people to validate you, but just taking that step and moving forward and just ready to go and knowing that, you know what, if you fail, there's something to come out of that. In the storm, it's not the leaves that are being tested, it's our roots that are being tested. We're meant to shed, we're meant to fail, we're meant to fall. It's our roots and foundation. And once you have those roots and foundation in place and aren't looking for that validation and are true to who you are and what you believe in, that's when the breakthrough happens. Or you can get out of the breakdown, right?
All right. So let's talk spiritual. We both go to Inspire.
Okay, yeah.
You're big in you do a lot with the newest branch. Or are they called branches?
Yes,
Yes, branch. So the Kapolei branch.
Location.
Location,
Yeah, locations, yeah.
I always go to the Waikele. It's not that it's closer. It's just that's just my group. And that's my son and I have always gone there. What brought you to this relationship with God?
Being in a breaking point, I was suicidal. I was very depressed, very dark, and just having a conversation one day of being like, hey, like, this is it, I'm done. And I don't know, I just had this overwhelming sense of a feeling that it was okay, and not even joking. The next morning, it was like, here's a doctor that you're randomly going to stumble upon that can help you. Your mom is going to offer to come and help you with your kids. And your
Tiffany.
husband's going to get a full-time job, or you can step back. Like, it was just like, and so I first started with those things of getting myself medically right and corrected, and then just plugging myself into a church community and finding that and learning and spending the time with God and Jesus.
So why Inspire?
Honestly, I think I saw it on social media, and I noticed one of my friends had gone there and posted about it, and I just asked her, I was like, hey, I'm looking at going to church. I want to find a place. Do you think it's a good place? Are they judgmental? And I say judgmental because every other religious establishment I have been to in my life, and I didn't go for myself ever, it was always for a wedding or a baptism or something for somebody else, I felt so judged. I'd walk in there, and I used to have bright red hair, but I've fully tattooed. And I was like, man, if looks could kill, I would drop dead, right? I don't want to be here. And it was bad for me to have that. Again, I was trying to be validated in that moment of being like, well, am I going to be accepted? And praise God, I went there and walked in and was just greeted by the pastor and greeted by the children's ministry lead. And my children loved it and came out and were like, hey, can we go there every single week? And it was like lots of people with tattoos and different walks of life there. And it felt like home and just this overwhelming sense of community and right place, like I was meant to be there.
Yeah, I go to Aspire. Ty and I have been going to Aspire for, probably 10 years, at least 10 years. Remember, when we moved to Eva Beach from town, we were going to the different Catholic churches, and I was not rebelling, but I was just not happy with the Catholic Church. They had changed how they say everything, and I'm like, it took me 30 plus years to learn it the first time, and now you're changing it on me. So I was frustrated with that. And then we went to 3 different Catholic churches, and I just didn't feel like I was a part of. There was no connection.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine went to Inspire, and so I'm like, well, Ty and I went, and Ty, my son, immediately fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's always the kids, right?
Yeah,
it's
the kids.
The kids are bought in, and we're in.
And I like the message. Pastor Mike is amazing. He's somebody you could have a beer with.
Yeah.
There's a book by Steve Sims. It's called Blue Fishing, and a great book. I don't know. It's a coaching type book. Steve Sims is an author. I don't know if you've heard of him. No. Great book is awesome. He just passed away, actually.
Okay.
I think he had cancer, but if you look at somebody, if you're like, you know what, I could have a beer with this guy. That's a guy you want to hang out. That's a guy you want to be around.
Yeah.
And that was Mike Cott. That was Pastor Mike.
Yeah.
And he just he didn't speak at you or to you. He spoke almost like he was with you. And he still does that. And that's certainly one of the reasons why I love going there. And the first time I had heard a woman pastor was Lisa. And she was so down to earth and real. I'm like, at first I was kind of, this doesn't seem right. It's not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But man, she was amazing.
Yes. No.
And they're such a great team. And actually, one of my first clients is now one of your very good friends,
Okay.
the Evers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Courtney. Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. When they bought their first house with us, or they bought their house with us, I think he was on deployment. No, she was on deployment and he signed.
Okay.
And then when they refinanced, she was pregnant with Ruthie.
Man. Yeah.
With
Okay.
Ruthie.
Okay.
Yeah, with Ruthie. And so Ruthie's in the picture, but she's in
yes,
Courtney's
little.
belly. But it's such a great church, and just I like the diversity of people there. You have locals, you have all different walks of life, young, old.
Yeah. I love how real the testimonies are too of the pastors. Like Pastor Mike's testimony of being a single dad, and again his mental health struggles. I related to that, and even the location pastors for Kapolei, right? Broken marriage, coming back together. So they're like real, inspirational, glory to God situations, testimonies where people actually go through that. So it makes it more relatable. And I'd never experienced that in any other church that I'd ever gone to. It's the guy that stands up there, or the lady that stands up there is, I'm perfect and I do this, that, and
Perfect hair.
Yes, and it was just so refreshing that, okay, these are like real people that let's talk about actually, we're all sinners. We all do bad things and have done bad things or have bad things happen to us. And we're still have a love of Jesus and we're in for it for the long run.
And we're trying to get better. We're all trying to get better, you
Yeah.
know? And you mentioned it earlier. You can't be afraid to fail. You're going to go out there. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's part of life. That's what you do after you make those mistakes.
Yeah.
It's what you do after you fail. Yeah. So let's talk about some adversity.
Okay.
Moving to Hawaii is very difficult. Having two. Now, did you have your children while you were here or before you came
I had
here?
my youngest daughter while I was here.
Okay. Assimilating, coming in here, where'd you come from? Where'd you move from?
Utah.
Utah. So from Utah to Hawaii, there's got to be some struggle in that change. So what was your struggle, and kind of how do you relate that to people who are coming here who just maybe they're young? You were how old when you moved here?
Oh goodness.
21?
No, I wish. I don't know. I don't even remember. I can't even think. 27.
Oh, 27.
Like
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
So 27 when you moved out here. So a lot of young, especially spouses, the couples move out here. It's a culture shock. You're away, and I think one of the big things too is you're away from family.
Yeah.
How did you handle that, and what do you say to that young couple that's coming out to Hawaii, or single mothers, single parent coming out to Hawaii?
Yeah.
How do you get by? How do you not only survive but thrive in this new environment?
Yeah. So I think it's all about being intentional with your time. I see spouses all the time on the spouse groups being like, oh, I have island fever and I miss my family. And I think if you're not intentional about getting out there and experiencing the island and plugging yourself into community, you definitely are going to have that relationship and that perspective of Hawaii, of it's isolating and not a good time. But when we got here, we had a crazy PCS and so many things went wrong, but I really made it a point to get plugged in. I joined the spouses club on Hickam, the Hickam Enlisted Spouses Club. I volunteered to be the key spouse. Everything I could to get plugged in and to meet people and learn the island was very important to me. And then also, don't just stay on base. Like,
oh my gosh.
Get out. Even if you live off base, like some people just are always like, oh, I gotta go on base. No, stay off of base. Get yourself plugged in. Be a kind, respectful person and just go out there and enjoy the island and you will be welcomed. And it's all about respect and being intentional.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And a lot of people going to be mean? You know, if you're a genuinely nice person, you treat people with respect given, you receive respect in return.
Yeah.
And I lived, especially like in Japan, we have a station out there, but anywhere, people who hate one duty station, they're probably going to hate the next duty station. because they never leave the base. When we were lucky, when we lived in Japan, our first year or so, we lived out in town, like within the community, and it was a culture shock because we were like the only American, we were only non-Japanese in this neighborhood, but people were nice to them, and we got to learn a lot more about the culture. Same thing here. You learn more when you get out. You get away from the McDonald's on base. You get away from the Pizza Hut on base. You go out and you enjoy some Ono grind somewhere, go to the alley and have some, just get out and just see places and be part of the community. Church is a great place to get yourself out there, and you just expand from there. Spouses groups.
Yeah.
Are you still involved in spouses groups or primarily through your Facebook page?
I do the key spouse with my husband's unit, and then I don't do the actual spouse group, but I also run a couple moms groups and stuff like that, and then connect groups through my church. But yeah, I used to be the president of the Hickam Enlisted Spouses Club for a hot minute, but yeah. Yeah, you work your way up. And I went ham on it, so you don't have to be that intentional about it, but definitely just make the effort of putting yourself out there, and you got to try. And if you've got kids, use your kids, right? Like they all want to have friends, so just go to a park and hang out. It's that simple. You just got to do it.
It was crazy. I was walking yesterday, and I was walking with there was a lady with her daughter, and we were walking next to each other. And her daughter just takes off running to this other little family. Aww. And I don't even know who they are. But they got together, they were like super friendly.
Yeah.
I didn't stick around to find out how the kids knew each other. But kids are like that.
Yeah, they're like the gateway, right?
They really are. Kids and pets.
Yes.
Kids and pets.
It's so true.
Yeah. But don't go out and get kids and pets if you're not ready. But they really do help you. It was funny. So when I lived in Maine, I was stationed in Maine in 94.
God, how old are you?
I'm old. And were you born in 94?
Yes.
Okay. All right. See, man, I am old. So we had just gotten this little yellow lab, beautiful yellow. It's a little puppy, paws like that big, and just totally unproportioned. But I also had a blonde, I think she was 4-year-old daughter at the time. So every time we would go out, just people were always kind of, we want to pet your dog. Yeah. And then we would go to the bar, and I'd take my daughter to the bar just after work. It was in a crazy bar. And my buddies were like, hey, the waitress would come start serving us, and Paige would draw pictures and it'd kill our stuff, and they'd like, hey, can you put our number on the picture? We'll give it to her. And that's a one way to use your kids to get, but it's kind of off the wall. But your kids are an opportunity for you to meet other people. If they're in sports, that's another way. Obviously, church, the Inspire youth groups are amazing. They're doing summer camps right now, I think.
Yeah, yep.
But there's so many things to do on island. Surf. You surf?
I don't. I want to.
You should.
I know.
Yeah, we gotta get out there.
Yep.
That's what I did this morning, actually.
Okay.
Right before I had my first event of the day, I went surf. I try to get out twice a week, at least, early in the morning.
Yeah.
Best time, not as crowded, usually not as windy, and I just love when the sun's coming up. And it feels like it's giving you power.
Yeah. Like White Plains, or?
Yeah, I'll go White Plains or Howbush.
Okay.
They're really close. Like Howbush is just a few minutes from us. What would you say? Let's change the subject real quick. All right, let's get back to families moving to Hawaii.
Okay.
What would you say if you are confused on whether or not you should buy or rent before you come here? What do you recommend to a family? You get somebody on your Facebook group. We're moving out here. We don't know whether to buy or rent. What do you say to them?
That's an opportunity to become educated, right? So we can't make a decision without all of the facts in place. And I always say being indecisive is going to hurt you worse than making the wrong choice is. Being wrong is not going to hurt you as bad as just being indecisive. So you need to know the facts, and there is a wrong choice to be made, but there's a difference between getting educated on it and then just being like, oh, I don't know, and not trying to figure it out.
Have the facts.
Yeah, there's people like us that will sit down and have a conversation with you of this is what it costs. This is an exit strategy. this is what you can expect as far as repairs go, or costs that might come up while living in Hawaii. And some people don't even give that opportunity to be had, right? They're just like the indecisiveness, I don't want to be wrong, and that's going to cost you way more than if you just bite the bullet, had a conversation with the right people, and educate yourself.
And a lot of people, they hear a horror story, or they talk to people who lived here and lived in base housing, and they're like, "Oh, you got to go to base housing. Base house, easy.
Yeah.
You're right next to the base. You're in a safe community." Let me tell you, military housing isn't necessarily safer than any other housing. I feel a lot safer where I live now than when I did when I lived on Ford Island, even.
Yeah.
And so I think, you got to talk to the right people, not your Uncle Bob who bought a home 30 years ago, and says you should never buy a home, or, there are people who should not buy a home.
Absolutely.
But you got to at least run the numbers and just see if it's even an option. If you have 6 kids and you're moving to Hawaii, you're probably not going to buy a home unless you know you're going to stay here for a very long time.
Or they're all going to share a couple bedrooms amongst themselves.
Yeah, it's just that doesn't make sense. To get a 5-bedroom home,
putting out some money.
And so you have to do the math, and you got to use a calculator that's working, and not the one that you get online, but the one you get from experts who are going to tell you, no, insurance isn't going to be $500 a month like you see on the Zillow webpage, or here's what property taxes are going to be. You kind of run the realistic numbers and show them. And I like to show them.
Yes.
And then make them believe yes or no. And I don't mind if a client says they're gonna rent after they talk to me. Then that's a decision they made based on facts, not on what Uncle Bob said or feelings. Or being afraid. There's one thing, if you know the numbers and you know you can't do it, that's not being afraid, that's being real.
Yeah.
But if you don't know the numbers and you just say, I don't want to make a mistake, it's too expensive, you're making a mistake.
Yeah, and not being like biased on either side of that coin of on base has fantastic stories on it, but it has bad stories on it, right? Like the fuel spill, or that man that broke into someone's house while they were gone and set up surgical tables and was waiting for them to come home on base. Crazy stuff happens on base, right? But crazy
that
stuff
had to be on Hickam.
I don't even remember. I think it was AMR, but
was
I don't.
It? I don't know.
I'm not
That's
sure.
crazy.
Yes,
Wow.
But there's
like
stuff
somebody watched Dexter. Too much Dexter.
Yes, exactly. But there's crazy stuff that happens everywhere you go. Just take that kind of stuff off the table and educate yourself with the facts, right? Think of it as a business decision of like, where's my money gonna go? Do I have an exit strategy? Or should I be doing this? Do you have a savings, or you're living paycheck to paycheck with nothing in your account? Then maybe you can still have a conversation with us, and guess what? We'll get you prepared for when you go off the island, so you're set in place to buy a house when you leave.
It's your next duty station. Yeah, for
so
sure.
It's not even here in Hawaii. It's let's have those conversations to prepare you for long term. And I think people just focus on what's going to happen tomorrow or the short term and don't look into the future. And that's buying real estate. You have to look into the future, even as military, right? Especially
as military. And you say that, I look at investing. Oh, I need that $150 a month now. And they're not looking at that, investing that $150 a month every month, what that's going to do for them in the future.
Yeah.
And if they invested that $150 a month now and they started doing it and they made it automatic, they're not even going to think about it.
Yeah.
And if they have a budget, they're going to realize, if I really do need it, I could probably cut out McDonald's or Dash or what. I used DoorDash once on island. I will never, ever use it again.
Okay. That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, to me, it's what a waste of money.
Yeah.
You're basically paying double for your food. Just make your own food.
Yeah.
Now, this is coming from a guy who doesn't cook too often, but
I don't cook either, so.
But I tell you what, if there's food in the house, I can make something happen.
Okay.
I learned that from my dad. You just start putting stuff in the pot, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. It's all about priorities, right? And people don't sit back and think, like, when you got that job, you're told this is how much you're going to make, right? You set those priorities in place as to what you're going to be spending, not already having that in place, right? But you determine what your priorities are. And so if you step back and you really take the time to prioritize what you need to do to make something happen. That's all it is, right? It drives me insane where people are like, oh, I can't afford it because I don't know what this is going to do or what that. And but you do, because you know what you make a month, you know what you spend a month, and you can prioritize what is actually important to you or what's going to get you to point A to point B of where you want to be in your future. But people don't do that.
I know. It's crazy. So let's go back to moving out here. What is one of the biggest mistakes that you've seen people who are buying a home do?
I think underestimating the monthly cost. I'm very upfront with my clients, and I feel like they're in a good position, but I've heard a lot of horror stories where they go and they buy a home and they don't, again, educate themselves of it's not just that house payment that we need to be paying attention to. It's the utilities, it's the cost of living, it's the repairs. So I think people need to really take the time of educating themselves of knowing the house that they're going to buy, are the ACs working properly, or am I going to have to replace that? And how does that AC not working how it should affect my monthly electricity bill? Solar, everyone's, oh, a house has solar on it, so it's good. No, there are like crap solar deals out there that are going to screw you when you go to sell your house or sell it afterwards. So you really just need to take that time of, again, educating yourself and not just having your head up one tunnel here or focusing on one thing. You got to have the full picture. So I would say, yeah, just not being aware of everything that goes into living on the island and becoming house broke is what I've heard.
So let's talk about house poor. It's been a while since I've been house poor, but for much of my career, we were house poor. You're a little younger than me. Nick was a little more junior. How have you guys managed how do you make Hawaii affordable?
Again, it's priorities, right? We know what we want out of our lifestyle. We know the cost of what it takes to live here, and it's prioritizing those things to make it happen, right? If you want something, you can make absolutely anything happen. It's just about your priorities and partnering yourself with the right people. If you don't know how to get to that end goal, partnering yourself with the right people that can help you or educate you to do that. We try to be good about not using DoorDash. I mean, I still do use DoorDash because I want to be lazy sometimes, right? I'm like, I am not going to the store, I am not cooking, and I will order DoorDash. But it's knowing that you have to have those priorities in place and stick to them. Obedience. That would be the word. Obedience. Obedience to your priorities or obedience to the lifestyle that you want to have.
And there are a lot of, what do you do for fun?
I love going to the beach. I literally could just lay there all day and read a book and hang out. I like to hike. I like to, fortunately for me, a lot of the things I like to do are free.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, you could do so much here and it doesn't cost you a thing.
Yes.
The beach is free.
Yeah.
You buy a $150, $200 surfboard from Costco, you've got a surfboard.
Yes.
It's a good surfboard. I have one.
Yeah.
And you can surf. It doesn't cost you any money to put that board in the water. $150. Now, golfing, that's that's one of my passions.
Yeah.
That one costs a little bit of money. But hiking, there are so many great hikes on this island.
Yeah.
And if you want to hike, just text hike, HIKE, and I will send you a list of all the hikes on the island. Because I was a scoutmaster. I used to hike all over the island, on other islands, and that's my
I'm gonna
jam.
have to hit you up on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Text me hike.
I will.
And I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much. If you like to bike, there's actually a lot of mountain biking you can do. Camping.
Yeah.
Camping is especially if you already have the gear. If you're in the Army, that's your uniform. It's part of your sea bag, we like to call it. But there are so many great places to camp on island too. Yeah, and beaches galore.
Yeah. I think people get caught up in, not just here, but everywhere, like the comparison game, right? Everyone thinks, oh, I have to go buy this luxury car, or I have to go do all these things that are expensive, when it's not even a hobby. It's more of like what you think other people.
What's going to press other people?
Yes,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think people need to stop caring about what other people think, stop worrying about comparing yourself to other people, and have your priorities be obedient and just do you, and you will love it here, and you'll be able to budget and be happy. Yeah, I think the comparison thing, right? It's like,
It's
well, this
tough.
person does this, so we have to be able to do that too.
I know.
No, you don't.
A lot of that is social media. I
Yes,
mean, it's
yeah.
just, you see, nobody posts the bad things.
No, they post what what you want to see.
Yeah,
Or what they think you want to see.
Yeah, and that really makes us feel like we have to do so much more, but really you don't. Just be you.
Yep.
And enjoy. There's so much to do out here that doesn't cost money. And if you don't like to hike, learn to hike. It's good for your health anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. There is a topic in January how for funding for homes like with reserves, you have to have 15% in reserves for any kind of government-backed loan to fund it now.
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, January 1st, it's any condo or CPR that has an HOA or maintenance, they're going to be requiring like a 15% in the reserves to cover
Oh,
like
for the
assessments.
HOA.
Yeah. Otherwise
I
they
haven't-
won't, they're like going to remove the approvals for the
The
buildings.
for VA, this is a VA
All
thing?
government-backed loans.
I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Yeah, can you send that to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's,
So, oh shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
that really could screw some folks over.
This episode of In Search of Excellence Island Style is powered by the Broker Mortgage Experts. If you're building wealth, creating stability, or planning your next real estate move, you need strategy, not just rates. The Broker Mortgage Experts are committed to helping families and investors build strong financial foundations through expert guidance and personalized mortgage solutions. Excellence starts with the right foundation. Connect with the Broker Mortgage Experts today.
So we are back here with Lexi Brown from Keller Williams.
Yes.
And you during the break you were talking about, and I totally forgot that you in addition to do everything else you do, I was asking how her kids were enjoying, how her daughters were enjoying the summer, and she's like, I homeschool them. They don't know the difference. So how do you do that? How do you homeschool, and why do you homeschool in Hawaii? A lot of people do.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily think it's because we're in Hawaii that I homeschool, but both my girls are autistic and on the spectrum, and we just were not getting what was best for them out of the traditional educational system. And so it just really puts their education in my hands. We can change things up so that it's how they retain information, how they learn it, or we can focus on things that they're interested in. So anything they're interested in, we can literally create any kind of reading or math or any subject out of it off of what they're interested in, and then they retain that information, which you don't get to do that in any kind of school setting. We've done public, we've done charter, and we've done private.
Now, do you teach all subjects, or do you have a team of other families and kind of kids together? Or is it just you with your daughters?
So I actually hired a special education teacher that comes into my office while I work through real estate. And while I'm working there, she'll teach with me or for me as well, teach my kids reading and writing or whatever we want to have supplemented. So I do have help with it. But yeah, we teach all of the subjects. I run a homeschool co-op that's faith-based on Fridays. Every Friday, I get together with a huge group of other homeschoolers, and we do studies on whatever our kids are interested in. So it's a whole community when you homeschool, right? It's whatever you want it to be. You can do it completely all by yourself and be in control of everything. You can have help or do groups, whatever. That's the beauty of it.
So with the Friday meeting, is that kind of like, I went to a Catholic school for a few years, and every Friday we would go to service. Is it that with faith-based, or is it,
No,
you talk about the Bible, you talk about a part of the Bible?
So we talk about the Bible, we open up in prayer, and then we do a study. Like right now the kids are working on an ocean study, so we just did all the different sharks, all the different whales, but then it also incorporates scripture, Jonah and the whale, right? We talked about that while talking about different types of whales. So it's just incorporating scripture with whatever lesson we're learning, and then they get the math, the reading, and again, it's customizable, right?
And in homeschooling, is it year round, or does it do quarter system? Or
It's whatever you want it to be.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want.
And how do the girls like that? Do they know any difference, or?
Oh yeah, they're happier, they're thriving. We work through things a lot faster too because there's not 30 kids doing one thing, right? Where as soon as they master it, we move on. Or if they need a little bit more time on something, we keep doing it. So they're able to go through a lot more. And statistically, homeschool kids that have gone all the way through, they usually graduate way early. If it's done correctly, right? Yeah, you work at your own pace.
I kind of like that in some respects because now the parents actually have ownership. They can't blame the school. No, you're the school.
Yes.
And you can't complain. They're not getting this in the curriculum. No, you are providing that curriculum.
Yeah.
I remember when my wife was teaching, especially right after COVID, and everybody was online. They weren't back in the classroom. And there were kids who were laying down on the Zoom meeting and in their pajamas, and their parents are like at the table behind, and they're not making them sit up. And my wife was like, "Yeah, hey, can you help me out here? Don't you care about your kids' education?"
Yeah.
And because nobody's going to study very well laying down with a blanket. I know if I'm laying down with a blanket, I'm sleeping.
Yeah. But that's a misconception though, because some kids, especially if they're neurodivergent, that could be their STEM. And that's how they learn. So they're like doing that for comfort because they're like overstimulated, but that's what you don't get in the public educational system.
I
right?
guess so.
My one daughter, she can be like, she has to have her feet in like kinetic sand, and then she's over here drawing and listening, but she's retaining the information because her brain just thinks differently and processes differently.
Wow.
But it's knowing those things. But because we're in our home, we're able to spend that time and learn what is best for them, right? But in that setting, the expectation would have been for them to be upright, you know what I mean, paying attention.
Yeah.
And the parent should have been advocating for their child. If that's not how they learn, they should have figured out other means of making sure that they were getting that information.
Yeah. And it's not the public school's fault.
No,
You know, they have a community they have to provide education to. They can't really... And
they're usually understaffed.
They're understaffed. They're certainly underpaid.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. That's the number one thing.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to keep teachers here because it's so expensive, and especially in the leeward side, all the communities here, there aren't single communities. And as a teacher, you don't necessarily want to live in the same community where all your students live.
Yeah.
You want to kind of be able to get
that
away.
break, right?
Yeah, you want to have a break, but you don't want to live in town because that's such a long drive in town. And that's where they're going to find their friends, teachers. It's very difficult. My wife was always the older teacher in the group. She was kind of the mentor for the other ones. And they come and go. They're not paid enough. They certainly aren't respected enough.
Yeah.
And it wears on you. It's a great... That's what I wanted to do, ultimately, was teach. And I teach now, but it's just different.
Yeah. The amazing thing about homeschooling for us, too, is we're able to supplement and incorporate things that they don't teach in school. So for me, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I run a photography business and also real estate. And I know for me, I never learned how to budget. I never learned how to do taxes. I never learned really about finances other than counting money or, hey, this is a dollar bill and the math of it.
Yeah.
Right? So now I've got friends like you or financial advisors that I'm like, hey, let's do a lesson. I can help my kids if they want to be an entrepreneur or want to invest when they're older or younger. Both of my kids are starting their own businesses. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I saw she was taking. I think we were doing. I can't remember what we were doing, but she was taking videos.
Yeah.
I think it was at one of our client parties.
Yeah.
She was taking videos and working for you a little bit.
But I can bring my children along with me and teach them real estate. And it was actually really funny. Roman had to do some testing, like medical testing, and they were asking her questions of, hey, can you explain what a kitchen is? And she looked at them and was like, yeah, the kitchen is where you sit down and eat. It has your dishes in it. And they're like, can you explain a little bit more about that to me? And she goes, you're an adult. Don't you know what a kitchen is? And they're like, yeah, but can you tell me? And she goes, my mom's a real estate agent. If you want to see a kitchen, you can go ask her and she'll show you one.
That's awesome.
But it's like, she probably got that answer wrong on that test, whatever they were doing, but she was like, okay, where's your common sense here? She was that critical thinking of being able to question, wait a minute.
Yeah, question the question.
Everyone has a kitchen. Why are you asking me that question?
So
Right.
speaking of, let's get back to real estate now. We're halfway through 2026. It seems like I think it feels like the market is picking up. What do you see?
Yeah, for here, I can't speak for other places, but I feel like there's a lot of moving parts that happen this time of year, right? There's a lot of PCS moves. People want to change their homes before their kids get back into school. So usually end of spring, summertime, it does pick up. I will say, though, I still feel like it's a great opportunity for buyers. Yeah.
Huge opportunity. Right now, especially on the west side, you go down any street. Heck, right behind here, our office,
Yeah,
there's a for sale sign.
signs.
I didn't even know that. Matter of fact, I'm going to go call the one realtor who we just closed on a deal on a different place. But yeah, they're all over the place. And when you see more than one or two houses on a street, that as a buyer should say two things. The one thing is why. You got to ask why. And right now it's PCS season. But two, that means opportunity.
Yes.
Because every seller wants to sell their home. How do they make their home more enticing to the buyer? They give them credits. They give them more credits, or they lower the price, or both.
Cover your closing costs.
Cover your closing costs. Buy your rate down. In my neighborhood, they're typically, before, I'd say a year and a half ago, if there was a house on the golf course that was for sale, sold like that. Mm-hmm. We've had 5 or 6 on the market, and they were just sitting.
Yeah.
And sitting.
Now you have options.
And one just closed. Another one is in contract. Another one looks like it might be in contract. Might have closed because it looks like they're changing carpets out.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see movement, and that's a higher end price, but homes are starting to move.
Yeah.
And that's good, but there's still a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. And for buyers, like when I got into the market, it was like you had to give your firstborn child and thousands and thousands of dollars over asking, like 30 offers per house, right? And that was still an amazing time for them to buy because that interest rate, their monthly payment, they're sitting pretty, right? As far as budget goes. So still a great time to buy. But right now, I'm always like, when everyone else pumps the brakes, that's when you educate yourself and you really take a look at the picture, because as long as you can afford it and that monthly payment is doable, you're locked in that monthly payment, right?
Yep.
You know you can do that. And I'm so pro just getting into real estate and dipping your foot in, and you have options, right? You don't have to give your firstborn child anymore. You're getting stuff in return.
And that's
repairs.
And that's the crazy thing is, you can buy a home. VA is a no down payment, but you still have to pay closing costs. $1 million home, we'll say $600,000 home. All right, that's a townhome.
Yeah.
Your closing costs are going to be about between $8,000 and $9,000. At closing, those have to be paid. You can move into a house, get seller credits to cover that $9,000, and buy your rate down. So today's rate is, we'll say like 5.875, something like that. We'll say you could get your rate down to maybe 5.25. Or there's different products. There's an ARM, adjustable rate mortgage, which has a really bad connotation. And I have to educate my clients on this, because when they hear ARM, they think 2008.
Yes,
And those are some bad ARMs with balloon payments at the end. 24-month or 12-month interest-only ARMs.
Well, people weren't being vetted then either. They were just giving out mortgages candy, right? So many different things that went into that are not happening now.
And the ARM products now, you can do a 5-year, you can do a 3-year. I prefer a 5-year, but a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage is about a half a point lower than a 30-year fixed rate. So you could get, maybe with your credits, go down from a 5.5 to a 4.875. I've had people at 4.25 in a 5/1 ARM in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal. You're talking, that's that's 2022 rates.
Yeah.
And if the market's hot, you're not going to see that.
No.
You're going to pay that $9,000. So that's $9,000 that you don't have to use for moving expenses, furniture,
Or savings.
or
even,
savings,
right?
yeah, or savings, and you're going to have a higher mortgage payment.
Can they refinance ARMs too?
You can refinance an ARM just like you can a 30-year fixed rate.
Yeah.
You have to wait 210 days from your first payment. It has to drop. The drop is a little different. I think its drop is just a quarter point.
Okay.
And the recoup is the same, 36-month recoup. So you can do exactly the same
Yeah.
on an ARM.
Which a lot of people don't realize that, right? That again, if you know what your monthly payment is and you're good at that, if rates do go down and you fit within those criteria, you can drop it.
Yep,
right?
yep.
And then you've saved all of that money on closing costs. Another question I have for you. So say someone was able to buy down a rate, the rates drop substantially in a year. Where does that money go that they've used to buy down the rate? Does that get applied anywhere?
Nope, they lost it.
Okay.
They lost it. Now, if you're doing a 2-1 buy down or a 1-0 buy down, so you're using the seller credits to do, basically, say you locked in at 6% and you had enough credits to do a 2-1 buy down, so your first year's at 4%. So part of that credit goes every month to pay the difference between the 6% and the 4% payment.
Yeah.
All right, say rates drop to say, 5%, and you decide to refinance at the end of year one. That remaining credit for that buy down, in most cases, you can use to basically cover the closing costs or reduce the principal on that next loan.
Yeah.
So you don't lose on a buy down. You don't lose that, and it's very easy to misunderstand that. If you're doing a seller financed buy down versus buying down your rate, like if you bought your rate down from say 6% down to 5.75%, yeah, and maybe it's $4,000. You're not getting that money back if you refinance. You're not. That money was just spent. But on a seller financed buy down, like a 2-1 buy down or a 1-year buy down, whatever's left over gets applied to basically your closing costs on that next loan. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah.
But as long as you're not spending your money to buy it down, to me, that's the golden ticket. And if you are going to buy down, what's the recoup? If the recoup is close to 3 years on it, it's probably not a good idea because you're probably going to refinance within 3 years or possibly sell the home in 3 years. You may not ever recoup that cost. So save the money, make the extra $100 a month in your payment. And that's kind of that's what I do. I help you. I don't tell you here's your rate. I never do that. I say, hey, here are some options. And then we discuss those options. Yeah. And sometimes I've had clients who they can't get over their fears of ARMs. So they'll go with the 30-year fixed rate. Okay. I'll have some who are very afraid of the 5-1 ARM. But after our conversation, they're like, yeah, we'll take that 5-1 ARM.
Yeah.
Because you mitigate the risk over a 5-year period versus a 1-year buy down, which one lender was paying the buy down, which it's a great program, but it's just 1 year. We don't know. People who bought homes with a 2-1 buy down 2 years ago, and now they're back at 6.25 or whatever, they're freaking out. They want them rates to come down so they can refinance. 5 years, that's a long time. And there's always an opportunity to refinance. Every year since 2022, so it's almost been 4 years since we've been, I would say 4 years in a housing recession across the country. Yeah. Every year, there's been little pockets where rates have come down into the low fives, like 5 to 5.25, where you can refinance. If people who are in the sixes or maybe the high fives could refinance. Yeah. Sometimes it's been 1 day. I remember April, I can't remember the exact day, but it was April, beginning of April. Friday, rates came down. I can't remember the news. They came down, and I had the opportunity to lock some guys, and a couple of them said yes. One of them said, no, I'll wait till Monday. Yeah. Monday comes around, something happened over the weekend, rates shot up back to 5.6, whatever.
That's why it's so important to stay in communication with your trusted advisor so that you can be ready, right? If that happens, be like, you have all your docs in and you're ready to go. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And it was funny, that guy who didn't lock, he called me on Monday, hey, can I lock? I'm like, not anymore.
Yeah.
You're,
Like now it's worse than what you're at.
but the next time that happened, he was like, just lock me. We don't need to discuss, just lock me.
Yeah, see the indecision. It's
Yeah.
always what gets you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So guys are like, I'm going to wait. We're at 5.25. I'm going to wait until we get in the 4s. Bruh, we haven't gotten in 4s. Will we? Yeah, I'm sure we will. But there's no guarantee. There's absolutely no guarantee.
Yeah, and there's no idea with everything going on now when that's going to be.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to close this up here, I think. Lexi, I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah, I truly value your friendship. You've been an amazing realtor partner. And I tell you, I will say this too. I could tell you've changed in a positive way. Just how calm you are in your demeanor. No, with clients. With Giovanni, it's like you're telling him he needs to get his steps in order before we start going off. And you're taking all of your time. Yeah. He has to know what his budget is, and you're like, just talk to Larry.
My boundaries are on point now.
Yes, and that's important. You gotta have boundaries.
Yeah.
Gotta have boundaries.
Yeah.
So my last question for you: what do you want your daughters to say about their mom in 30 years, 30, 40 years?
That's a good one.
When they're mom age and when they're adults, what do you want them to say about you?
That I was present.
Present, not on your phone, present.
Like that, and I homeschooling them, I really have that opportunity, right? More very blessed that I'm able to do that, but just that I was present, right? They always knew that they could go to me with anything or that I was there, not helicoptering them per se, but just available for whatever they needed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. And I got one thing for you, and we'll add this in. I need to can you grab one of the shirts? You need a new BAH shirt. You've worn your other one out.
I know. It doesn't fit me anymore.
I know.
It's
What
huge.
size do you want? You want a small?
Maybe small or maybe medium. I don't know.
We'll go.
Let's do medium because I like to work out in it too, right?
Okay.
And it's black now, which
Yeah.
that's my color.
I know.
Or shade, I should say. That's my shade.
And here we are. So again, I love to give this shirts to my guests. We got new ones. BAH stands for Buy a House. Lexi, that's for you. That's almost too big.
I know. I'm like this.
We might need
like
to go extra small for you,
think,
Lexi.
Well, this is a medium. Yeah, I'm gonna need a small.
Yep, we're gonna have to go small.
Yeah, but have you used your VA benefits? If not, let's talk to this man.
Let's talk. Let's talk. Awesome.
Larry Gonzales with the broker.
With the broker.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Lexi. It was a pleasure having you on, and
thank you
look
for having
forward
me.
to seeing you at Inspire and around the community.
Yes.
It's funny thing is I'm walking, and Lexi's walking with her daughters, and they'll see me. The daughters will see me. Roman will see me, and she'll get all excited.
Yep.
And start chirping away.
Yeah.
And
They call him Larry Gary.
Larry Gary.
Larry Gary. Where's Larry Gary? We don't see Larry Gary anymore.
That's because he's traveling a lot.
Yeah.
But he's going to be out there a lot more because Larry Gary put on a lot of weight.
Okay, we'll see you on our nightly walks again then.
Yep, you will.
I'll
I was
hold you
out
to
last,
it.
but I went to the beach. I walked to the Howell Bush yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of Vicky doesn't like walking down to Howell Bush.
Okay.
She likes walking down Keoneola Boulevard. So when I'm walking with Vicky, it's usually Keoneola. So that's where you'll see us around sunset. Great walk. It's an awesome walk.
Nice.
So awesome. You have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
And let's go make a difference. For
Sounds
sure.
good.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Thanks for tuning in to In Search of Excellence Island Style. Stay connected for more conversations with leaders raising the standard through purpose, values, and aloha.